This is a correction to Stuart Hameroff's new interview on the Closer to Truth video series, and my comments were censored for whatever reason, so I'm just uploading my own video. But basically, I've corresponded with Yuan, whose last name I always forget how to pronounce it. It's like Bandy Open. Anyway, and I first corresponded with Stuart Hameroff around 2006, maybe, and I've corresponded with him a couple times, I think, since then. But so I think he's confused about some of the philosophy aspects of the mathematics, and so he's talking about this idea of Roger Penrose that there's Platonic values that sort of cause proto-consciousness to self-organize into consciousness, and then that consciousness itself will also self-organize to a higher frequency. And as Penrose points out, that on a quantum level, frequency is mass, and this brings us back to De Broglie's law of phase harmony that I've gone into. But the issue here is what is Platonic, and Penrose Hameroff is probably not familiar with what Penrose has admitted recently, that his concept of twistors is actually based on non-commutative geometry, and that because it's quantum, so it's quantum algebra, and Penrose has admitted himself that he can't do non-commutative geometry, or also known as quantum algebra, since he's a geometry. He's more from a relativity and geometry background in his math, whereas quantum algebra is based on the matrices. And so anyway, as Hameroff already sent out the press release, like, I don't know if it was 10 years ago now or what, but Yuan emphasized he was gonna even perform ragas based on the quantum vibrations of consciousness, and it was explicitly emphasized that the music of the orchestrated production is not Western music, it's anharmonic vibrations. And I discussed this with Yuan. We corresponded, and he admitted, yeah, it's anharmonic vibrations. And so the ragas in traditional Indian ragas music, it's not Platonic math. The three gunas are based on non-commutative phase, which is also what Penrose has admitted is the foundation of his philosophy of science, twistors. And so obviously Penrose was trained in Western math, and that's why he uses the term Platonic, or he did originally, but that explicitly is not valid anymore. It's not true. The idea is that in non-commutative geometry, they want to convert the non-commutative phase at the sub-Planck level back to a classical symmetric geometry, which would be Platonic. But the key point here is that non-commutative phase is not limited to the quantum scale. And this is what Eddie Oshins realized when he created quantum psychology working at the Stanford Linear Accelerator Center. And so when Hameroff says that the Platonic philosophy is the same as the Tao, this is just fundamentally true law, because Western civilization has caused ecological social justice, and the Tao is actually the same as the three doings of traditional Raga that's non-Western. And so the music and harmonic vibrations are they're just inharmonic in relation to Platonic philosophy. And in fact, the empirical truth of relativistic consciousness of physics is that it's this non-commutative phase math. And this is also explained by Lawrence and when he realized that the brain relies on one-half spin quantum vibration. This is the secret of how objects are is that we resonate with one-half spin, and that's precisely why we can access the code of consciousness of the universe as wrong. So somebody commented that Hameroff is the Purusha, and whereas Penrose is the Atma. But actually, again, the Purusha is the three gunas of no guna from Samkhya philosophy, which is the philosophy of India. And what Ramana Maharshi calls the three in one unity. And so, and this is clarified by Anirudhan, who corroborated Hameroff's so once again, it's just a matter of understanding the logic that we privy to the details of quantum. And so it seems like a philosophical error, but actually it's a precise mathematical error that, well, we can say Western science is very precise, but it's not accurate. And if you have the wrong foundation, this is what math professor Luigi Borzacchini calls the, quote, deep pre-established disharmony, unquote, that is the, quote, guiding evolutive principle, unquote, of Western science. So the logarithmic math is philosophy of science professor Oliver Weiser called the music logarithmic spiral, which is a phrase he got from Esther Watson Tipper, who's the daughter of Thomas Watson. And so, and she corresponded with Einstein with this we did reach much of the same conclusions as about consciousness. So the key point here is that if you practice the Tao, you have to practice the non-commutative phase this is what I've devoted my life to researching. So it seems like a technical glitch, but it's the crucial pivot point of what makes the philosophy work in reality. So as somebody who's trained as a Western science is going to be confused about this, because everybody gets indoctrinated by the Pythagorean theorem, which isn't from Pythagoras, it's from Archytas and Plato as Platonic philosophy, but it's not non-commutative phase. So non-commutative geometry, they go into a non-commutative Pythagorean theorem, and so even what's considered the most obvious logical proof as the foundation, the power axiom set of Western science, is actually disproven by non-commutative geometry. So that's why so many scientists, they don't get this what I call the rotten root at the foundation of Western science, as a pun on the secret music origin of the Pythagorean theorem. So that's all I'm going to say. Thanks.